Picture this. You are 18 years old, sitting in a stuffy high school counselor's office or at your kitchen table with your parents. You have virtually no credit history, you've barely held a part-time job flipping burgers, and you certainly don't understand how compound interest works. Yet, you are handed a stack of paperwork and told to sign your name on the dotted line for an $80,000 loan. You're told it's an investment in your future. You're told it's the only way to succeed. So you sign. Fast forward to age 24. You have the degree, but you're making $52,000 a year at a job you barely tolerate. After taxes, rent, groceries, and a mandatory $850 student loan payment, your bank account hits zero 3 days before your next paycheck. You did exactly what society told you to do. You played by all the rules, and yet you feel completely suffocated and financially paralyzed. Okay, that's literally me. Or at least it's the exact reality for millions of Americans right now. My name is Nash, and I spend way too much time thinking about the hidden math and psychological traps designed to keep the working class completely broke. If you're someone who did everything right but still feels like you're drowning in the rat race, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Here's the thing. We have been sold the single most destructive financial lie of the last 50 years. And that lie is the concept of good debt. Society has convinced an entire generation that going into massive, unbankable debt for a college degree is a foolproof ticket to the middle class. But the math has completely fundamentally shifted, and nobody is telling you the truth. When your parents went to college, tuition was a fraction of the cost, and a degree practically guaranteed a high-paying career. Today, an $80,000 degree is standard, and the starting salaries have completely stagnated compared to the cost of living. You are essentially buying a luxury product on credit, but you're being told it's a basic necessity. Let's look at the brutal, undeniable math of an $80,000 student loan, because this is what your university financial aid office conveniently forgot to show you on a whiteboard. Let's say you borrow that $80,000 at a completely standard 6.8% interest rate on a standard 10-year repayment plan. Your monthly payment is going to be roughly $920. Now look, $920 a month leaving your checking account every single month for 10 years. Over the life of that loan, you aren't paying back $80,000. You are paying back over $110,000. For the first few years, a sickening amount of that $920 payment is just servicing the interest. You'll make 12 payments, give the bank $11,000, and your actual principal balance will only go down by maybe a few $1,000s. Psychologically, this destroys people. It creates a state of learned helplessness where you feel like you are shoveling dirt into a bottomless hole, which makes you want to give up on budgeting altogether. Now, you might be thinking, but Nash, I need a degree to get a good job. The statistics clearly say that college graduates make $1 million more over their lifetime than people with just a high school diploma. Here's what most people don't realize about that specific statistic. It is a massive, heavily skewed generalization. It lumps in neurosurgeons, corporate lawyers, and software engineers with people who took out $80,000 to get a generic communications or liberal arts degree to go work a $55,000 a year email job. If you're going into STEM, medicine, or high finance, the math still works. But for the vast majority of everyday people, you are taking on a mortgage-sized debt without getting the house. This is where it gets interesting and honestly a little bit terrifying. The real cost of your student loan isn't the $110,000 you pay back. The real cost is what that $920 a month could have been doing for you during the most mathematically critical decade of your entire life, your 20s. Let's talk about opportunity cost. In your 20s, every single dollar you invest is incredibly powerful because it has 40 years to compound before retirement. Imagine if instead of sending $920 to a loan servicer from age 22 to 32, you put that exact same amount into a basic S&P 500 index fund. Assuming a historical average of 8%, after 10 years, you would have about $168,000. But wait, if you stop investing completely at age 32, you never put another dime in, and just let that $168,000 sit there and grow until you are 65, it turns into over $2.1 million. Read that math again. By taking out that $80,000, you didn't just borrow money for tuition, you mathematically robbed your future self of over $2 million. You traded multi-generational wealth for a piece of paper that barely gets your resume past an automated HR filter. But the trap isn't just mathematical, it is deeply psychological. Debt is a behavioral leash. When you graduate with $80,000 in debt, you lose your options. You can't take a risk on a brilliant startup idea. You can't move to a new city with no job lined up just to see what happens. You can't comfortably buy a house because your debt-to-income ratio is completely destroyed. The system forces you to take the first safe corporate job you're offered, simply because you need the health insurance and the steady paycheck to keep the loan servicers off your back. You become a perfect obedient worker bee in the rat race, terrified to rock the boat because you have a $920 payment due on the 15th of every month. The debt mathematically guarantees you will stay in the working class for at least another 2 decades. It is a wealth-destroying mechanism disguised as an opportunity. So, how do we fix this? How do we beat the system? If you are 18 years old watching this, you need to treat college like a strict financial transaction, not a 4-year summer camp. If the starting salary of your chosen career is not higher than the total amount of debt you are taking on, you do not sign the paper, period. You go to community college for 2 years. You look into trade schools where plumbers and electricians are making 6 figures by age 25 with zero debt. You find employer-sponsored education programs. You refuse to play their game. If you are already in your 20s and you are sitting on this mountain of debt, you have to wake up and treat this like the 5-alarm financial fire that it is. You cannot casually pay the minimums while leasing a new car and going on expensive vacations. You are mathematically bleeding out. You need to live well below your means, slash your expenses, pick up a side hustle, and attack this principal balance with a level of aggression that makes your friends think you've lost your mind. Every extra $100 you throw at the principal isn't just saving you 6.8% in interest, it is buying back your freedom month by month. The system is perfectly designed to keep you broke, comfortable, and compliant. They want you saddled with student loans so you are forced into a lifetime of 40-hour work weeks just to survive. But once you see the math, you can't unsee it. You have the power to break the cycle. Stop blindly accepting the financial advice of a generation that lived in a completely different economy. Take control of your income, aggressively eliminate this trap, and buy your life back. You owe it to your future self.